Our next speaker is Sajith Ansar. One more celebrity in our BNI family. Sajith has been a member for the last 10 years, a proud member of BNI Insomniacs. He runs his branding and marketing company called Idea Spice. Idea Spice this year will complete 20 years in business. And they have created over 1,800 brands so far. He stares at the challenge of creating a brand in the face, but shuts his own eyes when he watches horror movies. Something that no one knows about Sajith is he watched Kamal Hassan in a movie do Bharatnatyam, enrolled for classes, did Bharatnatyam for 1 year and got kicked out for disturbing the girls. Once upon a time, there was a man who was super passionate about networking, and through the decade, he figured out how to make money out of it. This is his story, our last story for the evening, Sajith Ansar.
Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. So when Bijay came to me and asked me to speak, what he wanted me to speak about is really that you've been there for 10 years, and what's it which keeps you driving and keeps the excitement of BNI. I have a lot of friends who don't understand there's so much of passion for BNI. So my topic is really about networking and passion. I'm going to be sharing what I learned along the way. So first things first, a quick update on us. We are called Idea Spice Design, as we said. This year, in September, we're going to turn 20 years. And in 20 years, we've created over 1,800 brands, and we've done projects in over 50 cities. And one of the things I learned along the way is that I love what I do. I wake up in the morning, I look forward to going in the office. There are so many times when I've come back after a long day, my kids say, you must be tired to go out. And I say, no, I've actually had fun. So it's a big blessing to be able to go in the morning and do something which you really, really love. And for me, the big things are that I get to learn from each of my clients. We work in almost every single industry, and you really make a big difference. So for us, it's not about a visual experience. It's about actually transforming a company's business. So there was a term which I was studying about that, what is it that when you can wake up and be so excited? So there's a term in Japanese, some of you may have heard it, it's called ikigai. So what does ikigai really mean? Ikigai means your reason for being. Another term they have is that for which you wake up in the morning. So when you wake up in the morning, do you wake up and feel that you're in the rat race and you don't look forward to go for holidays? Or are you counting when the national holidays are, planning your holidays? Or do you have a job you don't want a holiday from? So as I dug into this, I'm going to hold one slide which I won't get too much into. So it's basically an amalgamation of multiple things. Ikigai means that you love what you do. The second thing on the other side is what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you get paid for. So if you can get all of this in one space, that's really your Ikigai. That's what you're searching for. So it got me thinking a little more when I'm talking about networking is, can there be something called Ikigai in networking where you have so many of us who look forward for meetings, who look forward to meeting new people. That becomes a way of being. And for me, that's, I would say, my secret. I have a job which I love and I do it. So likewise with BNI, as a way of being or networking as a being, it's something which I really, really love. So I'm going to break this down, and without sounding like I'm preaching, I'm going to give what are my secrets or things I've learned along the way. Some of it specific to BNI, some of it outside of it. Little tips, I think some of them are very, very simple things which we take for granted. So I thought I'll just spell that out and probably codify it and give away these as secrets. So what are the things I learned along the way? The first thing which is similar to my business is that you really want to make a difference. You're not meeting someone just to pick up a business card. When you're meeting somebody or you're connecting with somebody or even somebody in the chapter or outside, you really want to make a difference to their life. So even when you invite somebody, you're not inviting them for your traffic lights or to just quickly sort of get them as to sponsor them. You know you're doing it to do them a favor, that you're going to help them with their business. So for me, one of the key things to start off with is that the basic aspect of networking is there is a passion of really making a difference to the people around you. The second thing is that if you can make it a way of being, that you're not really trying. And I tell a lot of people who join new in the chapter that, and I've met a lot of people who are saying they've been here for 7 weeks, for 3 weeks, that, you're not running because of traffic lights, you're not doing something because you have to. It's because that's the way you are. You are connecting, your clients feel that, and you're not doing it only for BNI. If that becomes a way of being, that again becomes your Ikigai, which is where you're building your talent part. The first part was the passion aspect. The other thing which I learned is that networking happens everywhere. And in fact, Vijay was asking me to share that when COVID hit, marketing, events, we were the guys who were hit right in the beginning where clients all disappeared, broke contracts. My comeback really was BNI, all my initial referrals. Second was my gym. I got a lot of my big clients from the gym, and that's at a completely uncommon space. The third was cricket. Of course, we had ICL where we all meet, and there were so many other cross-chapter. But besides that, there's a bunch of us who meet every Sunday, and there are people from other companies. Some of my biggest projects have come during COVID from the most unnatural places, like travel, cricket, gym. So that's what I wanted to share, that, if that's your way of being, you're not coming with your meeting face. That just becomes your way of being throughout. The other key thing which I learned actually from a coach of mine who was in BNI before called Rajesh Nagji, that when you do something in order to, that you are passing a referral to get something back, you're helping somebody to get something, that becomes an in order to way of being. You're doing it, return a favor, and that comes across. All of us are intelligent. We get a sense when somebody's being authentic. So if you can get into a space where you're not doing it for something, you're doing it as a way of being, that was a big learning for me. And the other aspect is really listening. That, when you do one-to-ones, when you're meeting somebody, you're not thinking of something else. You're not thinking of what to say next. You're doing actual deep listening. And sometimes you can connect something for them maybe 7 months or 8 months down because you remember a little nugget of what they wanted, who they wanted to meet, what is their key aspect. So for me, listening was a big thing which sort of I learned. Other thing is, because of listening and sometimes in one-to-ones, you really, when you get to know what is a person's real purpose and their vision, and you can connect and help them in that front, you're really making a difference. So you're not just getting some basic things like your, what are your, bread and butter clients and cream clients. You're actually getting into how can you transform their life. So that for me was a big learning which kept me going. The other aspect is when you make promises, you follow through. Because that also is part of what you are. When you say you're going to connect somebody, or you say you're going to call them or fix a meeting at a certain time, that's something, it becomes a way of being, and that also becomes something which brings out the passion for yourself also. And forging deep relationship. I would say that some of my best friends or become family, even for me, for my kids, some of them see them as godparents, are from BNI. A lot of us travel together. There are relationships which come across every chapter, and that doesn't become transactional. And it really happens when you forge relationships which are deep, which you remember things, and you're not doing it as just a very transactional networking. And for me, that's really helped me instead. And that's when really people want to help you also back. The other aspect is also knowing what your personal brand is. For me, the word passion is part of my brand, which is why I'm talking on the subject. Fun is a part of my brand, transforming other people's lives. So once you make a list, everything you do ideally should be working around your personal brand. You're not going out of it. So it's important to even think back and say, what is that personal brand I'm taking everywhere I go, not just in your networks, but that becomes your way of being. The other key thing is having memory hooks for yourself, not just in your 30 seconds. So for example, our business card, many of you have seen, is a currency note where I talk about I can help people make more money. We have a big giant horse in our office. We talk about our coffee. These are all visual hooks. I want to share a story for a lot of new members. In my 30 seconds, I would keep saying that I'm a branding company. Every time you see a card which looks ugly, think of us, and that's a good visual hook, and you can connect us, and we can do this. So we had one very, very earnest member, I'm not going to name. Next client he met, he got the card. He said, boss, this card is really ugly. You have to do something about it. And the guy said, okay, so what do I do? He said, you have to meet this expert, and his name is Sajith. He said, he's designed this card. So I had to train them to first ask, who did your card, and then say it's ugly. So as one flip back of the things, I want to end with the last thing, is that we also say in BNI, and as a chapter president, I also say this as part of the BNI script, what goes around comes around, and the whole thing of givers gain. And also there's one part of the script which says that when you help somebody get business, they in turn will want to help you. And for me, I believe that's not what it is. If you don't expect anything and you're just out to help people and you can help transform their lives, things will come back, and you should not do it because you're expecting something back. That's my biggest takeaway from that. On that note, thank you very much, guys.